Hey, this is the storyteller, and today we are going on a cringe video of Amber Heard and Johnny Depp legal case. Amber Heard has resurfaced about some allegations. Amber Heard details violent abuse at the hands of Johnny Depp and asks a judge to dismiss $50 million defamation lawsuit. This is an article on Downing into Comics by Jonathan Trent on April 12th. Aquaman actress Amber Heard requested a judge to dismiss Johnny Depp's $50 million defamation lawsuit against her after she detailed violent abuse by Depp. Depp, who is Heard's ex-husband, filed the lawsuit after Heard described herself as a victim of domestic violence in an op-ed she wrote for the Washington Post late last year. In documents obtained by Page 6, Heard states about a year into our relationship, underquote, about a year into our relationship, I began to dismiss Johnny abusing, or shall I say, witness Johnny abusing drugs and alcohol on some occasions when Johnny simultaneously used both illegal narcotics and prescription medications. I have had to get him medical attention. Whenever he was using, I worried for both of us. He would become a totally different person after delusional and violent. We called that version of Johnny the monster. End quote. Heard would also continue. Johnny often would not remember his delusional and violent conduct after he came out of his drunk or medicated states. Because I love Johnny, I had believed his multiple promises that he could and would get better. I was wrong. So you loved Johnny, and that's why you defamed him after getting a divorce. And made him lose all his films because you loved him. She goes on to detail an incident on a flight from Boston to LA in May 2014. Heard and Depp were not married in May 2014. They got married on February 2015. After all this had happened, there is an incident detailed here. After this incident, they still got married on February 2015. On the flight, she says, Johnny ordered the flight attendants to give him an oxygen tank and drank heavily. Johnny's handlers told me that he was upset that I was filming a movie with a romantic scene with James Franco the day before. Soon, Johnny began to throw objects at me. Instead of reacting to his behavior, I simply moved seats. That didn't stop him. He provocatively pushed a chair at me as I walked by, yelled at me, and taunted me by yelling out the name, James Franco. She adds, at some point I stood up and Johnny kicked me in the back, causing me to fall over. Johnny threw his boot at me while I was on the ground. Johnny continued to scream obscenities until he went into the plain bathroom and passed out, locked in the bathroom for the remainder of the flight. Heard would recall another incident in March 2015, means 1 month from marriage, just a month after their wedding. Johnny told me that I had not explicitly forbidden him from taking ecstasy. Their argument heated up, and Johnny pushed me, slapped me, and shoved me to the ground before I retreated to a locked bathroom. She indicates she then went downstairs the following morning. Underquote, she adds again, I went downstairs to find that Johnny was still awake and that he had stayed up all night. Having taken about 8 MDMA pills, he was also drinking again. We got into a fight that Johnny made physical, and I barricaded myself in one of the rooms. That didn't stop Johnny from busting through the door of the room I was in. By nightfall, Johnny had hit me multiple times, shoved and pushed me to the ground, choked me, and spit on my face. So throughout the day, like for at least 16, 17 hours, he kept doing these things and you stayed at home. Wow. You're a really persistent woman, Miss Heard. You stayed with your abusive husband for 18 hours straight. Johnny then handed me a liquor bottle that he was drinking from and asked me, "What are you going to do?" I threw the bottle on the floor. Johnny responded by starting to throw cans and unopened glass bottles at me. So he threw glass bottles at you. Okay. Heard continues that night, Johnny shoved me into a ping pong table that collapsed underneath me. Johnny threw bottles through the window panels of a glass door, breaking 2 panes and leaving glass everywhere. Johnny then grabbed me, gripping my body and nightgown. He tore the nightgown off, and at some point I was naked and barefoot, covered in alcohol and glass. So Heard is giving completely detailed descriptions of something that happened in March 2015. March 2015 meaning almost 4 years ago. 4 years ago. When I have violent encounters with anybody, I can't remember anything a week after. I literally cannot remember anything a week after, but she completely remembers every small detail, minute details about what happened 4 years ago. Okay. And she adds, Johnny grabbed me by my hair and choked me against the refrigerator. She remembers the refrigerator in the kitchen. She is a very studious, student, very learning and has a very high memory capacity, probably, that she remembers everything, every single detail. Refrigerator in the kitchen. I tried to stand myself up, but I was sliding around the glass-strewn floor and countertop. Johnny threw me away from him, and I tried to run away as Johnny continued to throw objects and alcohol at me. And after all this, you still were married to him for some more time, I think. She added, in one of the most horrific and scariest moments of this 3-day ordeal, 3 days ordeal, Johnny grabbed me by my neck and collarbone. How does he hold you by the collarbone? I can't hold exactly by the collarbone, and slammed me against the countertop. I struggled to stand up as he strangled me, but my arms and feet kept slipping and sliding on the spilled alcohol and were dragged against the broken glass on the countertop and floor, which repeatedly slashed my feet and arms. Scared for my life, I told Johnny, "You are hurting and cutting me." Johnny ignored me, continuing to hit me with the back of one closed hand and slamming a hard plastic phone against a wall with his other until it was smashed into smithereens. While he was smashing the phone, Johnny severely damaged or injured his finger, cutting off the tip of it. So she's blaming him, Johnny Depp, for his finger getting cut off. Once I was able to get away, I barricaded myself in an upstairs bedroom on the third day of Johnny staying awake. Without sleeping, I came downstairs to find numerous messages Johnny had written to me around the house, on the walls, and on my clothes, written in a combination of oil paint and blood from his broken and severed finger. Johnny also urinated all over the house. Heard indicated she had a busted lip, a swollen nose, and cuts all over my body. To this day, I still have scars on my arms and feet from this incident. In a separate incident in March 2015, in the same month, Heard does admit to punching Depp. But in defense of her sister, she says he began to destroy personal property all over the house, including my belongings in my closet. Johnny lunged at me to hit me. Whitney, her sister, placed herself between us. Johnny turned his attention to Whitney, who was standing on the top of a flight of stairs, and moved on her, acting in defense of my sister. As I was scared for her physical safety, I punched Johnny in the face to draw his attention away from her. That was the only time I ever hit Johnny. Hud would provide deposition from their divorce, which read, he was about to push my sister down the stairs. I acted defensively for her life. She would go on to recount a number of other violent incidents with Depp. So she again goes on with all these incidents, but how does she exactly remember all these incidents? She's giving really minute details. Hurd's lawyer, Eric George, also stated Johnny Depp physically and verbally abused Amber Heard. He added, since their divorce, Ms. Depp has continued to publicly harass Ms. Heard and attempted to gaslight the world by denying his abuse. It is a long past time for Mr. Depp's despicable conduct to end. In a previous statement, George commented on Depp's lawsuit. His frivolous action is just the latest of Johnny Depp's repeated efforts to silence Amber Heard. She will not be silenced. Mr. Depp's actions prove he is unable to accept the truth of his ongoing abusive behavior. Johnny Depp's lawsuit claims that Mr. Depp's reputation and career were devastated when Ms. Heard first accused him of domestic violence on May 27, 2016. The lawsuit states that Ms. Heard published her op-ed with actual malice. She knew that Mr. Depp did not abuse her and that the domestic allegations that she made against him in 2016 were false. The lawsuit claims Heard is the one who abused Mr. Depp, and it details multiple acts of violence that she allegedly committed against Johnny Depp, including shattering the bones on the tip of Mr. Depp's right middle finger, almost completely cutting it off. It also accuses Heard of throwing glass vodka bottles and other projectiles at him. In fact, the lawsuit claims it was Heard who kicked and punched Johnny Depp. So, a petition has also been signed, as we have talked before in some videos, that over 17,000 people have signed it to remove Amber Heard from Aquaman 2 due to Depp's allegations about Heard played Mira in Aquaman and Justice League. Now, I would personally say that this is their personal matter. Let the law solve it all. These petitions are not exactly something that we should do because it's not our matter. Anyhow, we don't know who has done what. And I've said before, husbands and wives, they break up, they make up. This is not something that we should get involved into, but it's a celebrity case. We can laugh about it, but we should not actually go on to hurt anybody in this. Neither Depp nor Heard should be attacked. But anyway, this is it for today. If you like this content, please like and subscribe, ring that notification bell, and we'll be back with more reviews and more cringe afterwards. Check out the links in the descriptions below.